Hi, everyone. Welcome to Glitch and Glow, the podcast where digital dreams meet soulful self care. I'm Ariel.
And I'm Edna.
And we're social workers by trade, and we're your hosts on this journey through the worlds of tech, wellness, gaming, and Black womanhood.
Each week, we dive into real conversations, level up our self care, decode the latest tech, and celebrate the wins, big and small, in our communities.
So, whether you're here for the healing, the hacks, or the high scores, you're in the right place. So, grab your tea, your controller, or your headphones. Let's tap in.
All right, let's start off with our boot sequence. This is where we boot up and sink in. Here's what's on our minds today. Oh, my words today, girl. We're going to see how this whole episode goes. Woo, I am here. Okay, so let's start off, we're already on a take two. We're just gonna keep rolling though. We're gonna keep rolling. Full transparency out here. So maybe this will be my glitch. I don't know. But let's start off with you, Ariel.
Real time glitch.
Oh man, real time. Let's start off with you. What is your glitch right now for this week?
So my glitch was the fact that I was super sick all last week. Friends, I was down bad and still really had to muscle through. And I don't know the last time y'all have had a sore throat, but I woke up with a sore throat and I don't think I've had a sore throat in years probably. So I forgot what that felt like. And I was panicking. I was like, oh my gosh, is this strep? Is this COVID? What is happening to me? And did all the tests, everything was negative, whatever. And come to find out it was just because of postnasal drip. So that was a thing that happened. And it was super weird because it was only on one side of my throat, which is the side that I sleep on. So that's why I was like, oh, I know this is postnasal drip. So that was super annoying. And also for my job, I talk all day. So having to talk and meet with people and suffer through this sore throat at the time was super, super wild. But it's over now, so that's great. But yeah, that was a situation for me for a long time. So
it's so tough. And I feel like you rarely get sick. I get sick all the time.
Rarely.
So I feel like you rarely get sick. And I remember being younger and your mom being like, you can only have death happen upon you for you not to go to school.
Literally.
So I'm like, for you to be like, hey, I'm really unwell. I feel like she really ingrained in you, you really need to be unwell for you to not be doing things. And so that means you were really sick.
Yeah. It was very much back in the day, you're going to go to school and if you throw up, I'll pick you up. But you're fine.
That's crazy. I remember when you told me that. I feel like that's crazy. You
don't have to I had perfect attendance for years, dude. For years.
So unnecessary. Nobody remembers.
It really was. It really was. It was so dumb. But yeah, so to your point, it really takes a lot for me to be I cannot. I mean, I still worked anyways. I was just work from home. So whatever. But yeah, the amount of tea that I drank last week was really something. I made it through an entire box of tea, which I was like, wow.
Oh, wow.
In 1 week. A whole box.
Impressive.
Yeah.
Because you needed to, though. Do you have a go-to tea when you're sick?
I like a ginger. So I'll do I have this ginger honey tea that also has zinc in it. And so I'll brew that and then also add some lemon juice in there, add a little bit more honey in there, and really that's kind of what I stick with. So
that's smart. It sounds like just about me. This last time I was sick, I thought I'd be super cute. I was like, I'm gonna get me some actual ginger that I have and boil it in some water with some lemon.
No.
It just also didn't taste that good. I didn't look it up or nothing. I was like, I'm just throw this shit in there. It'll work, right? And I was like, I don't know if it worked, but I don't know how long you're supposed to do it or anything. I literally just tried. But I was like, at least it was super fresh, if nothing else. So I don't know.
So yeah,
Yeah.
that's my
Yeah. Yeah.
glitch. Yeah.
Okay.
What about you? What was your glitch?
So I don't know if listeners have heard or seen that Microsoft, for their Game Pass, they have upped, at least at the time of this podcast episode, have upped the subscription prices. And like, I was just
Mm-hmm.
asked, my husband just asked me, he's like, have you seen both sides? Like, are there any people who are pro it? I'm like, literally, no. I've not seen one person on all the internets that I look at being like, this is a good thing for gaming. This is great. I'm happy to pay more. In fact, the website crashed because so many people were trying to cancel at the same time because folks are like, excuse me, what? You want me to pay how
Yeah.
much to pay video games on a monthly basis? Like, then you add it up for the year and it's just like, F you guys for taking advantage of
Mm-hmm.
us. And it makes me also think about the conversation we had when we were talking about, like, I don't know, maybe this was when we are talking about movies and video games, but just all the subscribing that's now required in order for you to
Mm-hmm.
enjoy anything. And I forgot where we were, but my husband was also just like legit buying some DVDs because he's like, I don't even know. You can't be guaranteed that you'll be able to access content like you used to if you don't own it anymore. So I kind of feel
Yeah.
like this is something I've been hearing like from him and other people. And I know we've talked about too of like,
Mm-hmm.
the subscription thing is getting a little out of hand and a little dangerous because stuff can also disappear without you being able to have any control over that. So it's nice
Mm-hmm.
to actually own things again. Where at first it was like, oh, this is so great. I don't have to own anything. I don't have to have a bunch of stuff and shelves with movies and blah, blah, blah. And now folks are like, no, actually, I need to buy hard copies of stuff. But
Yeah.
especially in gaming, even thinking about the Switch, they don't have hard copies for everything anymore. And then if you are doing that, it's like you're a collector, which I think is hilarious, but because it makes me feel old only. But yeah, it just has me thinking about like gaming, the industry, capitalism being taken advantage of, um, who gets to have access to games and why, and just like I don't know, it just doesn't excite me at all. It's like very much a glitch in my or a glitch in my side, and it makes me wonder about like the future of gaming. I've been seeing a lot
Mm-hmm.
of people be like, just go get, this is your sign, get a PC. And I'm like, well, I was already kind of on that train thinking so anyways, but I'm also
Mm-hmm.
hesitant to be like, the PC is the answer. I'm like, I don't know if Steam will go crazy one day too and be like, I don't
Hello.
know. And I don't use
Mm-hmm.
Steam, so I can't really say anything about it. I just feel really skeptical these days with like media content, gaming content, not necessarily content itself, but like our accessibility of it.
Yeah.
So that's my glitch this week.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a bummer. And yeah, I'm
Yeah.
your point about like getting a PC and being wary that like it's not going to go down the same road. Like, I really, really feel that because it does very much seem that like everything is going that way. So
Mm-hmm.
like, hopefully that's not what's going to happen. But like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, getting physical copies of things, like, I do think like we might want to get back to that. I actually still have a lot of like physical games, but like for older
Same.
consoles. So
Mm-hmm.
like for the newer ones, like I don't really have that. So it is a good point to be
Mm-hmm.
like, maybe I should
Yeah, no, I only pretty much
start
have
buying
digital
them.
games. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then
Yeah.
Nintendo has that caveat of like, who owns this game? It's not actually you. You're like, you like
Mhm.
borrowed it from us.
Mhm.
So I don't know. It is super weird to me. Who would
Yeah.
have thunk when like we were little people playing PlayStation and whatever? Like,
Right.
oh, one day, like, no, I could have never predicted this. So, meh, truly a glitch.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
about your glow?
My glow is part one. I recovered.
Thank God.
But no, my real glow is that I know I've talked about last week how my friend's wedding was on the horizon. The wedding has happened. It was super, super beautiful. I was just like very happy to be part of it. And like, it was just a really, really good time. And it felt like there was just like so much love, so much family. Like, it was just like a really, really, really good time. So
Hmm.
yeah, just got the warm and fuzzies from that weekend. So it was really nice.
That's so good. I love celebrating
Yeah.
love. So when
Yeah.
it goes off
Yeah.
without a hitch, it's like, that's so nice.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, there were some hitches, but none that she had to deal with. So that's
That
all that
part. That's the
matters.
main part,
Okay,
okay? That's the main part.
okay,
Keep them safe.
okay.
That's so real. I'm glad it
But
went
yeah,
well.
yeah, it was a good time. But yeah, what about your glow?
My glow is that I had a friend visit over the weekend. It's a friend that I hadn't seen in ages. And so it was so nice to have her. It was like a quick 48-hour sort of situation where we did a lot of things that were great, but also now afterwards I was like, whoo, I'm tired. But one of my favorite things that we did is crafting. So she was like, let's do a craft. So we like legit went to Michael's. We legit picked our own crafts, which was nice because we didn't do the
Oh.
same thing. We each picked what we wanted. And I realized that I was kind of in a crafting like slump without
Mm,
realizing it. Like I think she really got me out of it because I
mm.
ended up doing some diamond painting. And it was just fun. You know, the
What
diamond
is that?
painting where there's like an image that's sticky and then there's little like gems, and it's almost like a paint by numbers where you take the little gems and you put
Yes.
it in the correct spot. Yes.
Yes, I know what you're
And I
talking
was
about.
able to finish the whole thing. It was Christmas
Mm.
themed, which is like ahead of the game, but whatever. That's what was there. I was like, I'm just here to do it. Now it's ready to put up for Christmas.
Right.
But it was so fun. And then after she left, I was like, oh, I have this other like 3D puzzle flower thing. Let me just knock
Mm,
that out and do it. So I feel like I'm
mm-hmm.
back in the okay, we can create on some level. I have a
Mm-hmm.
Lego set that I want to do now. So I'm like, let me do that.
Yeah.
It's the
You're like,
Phoenix
we're
from Harry
back.
Potter. Yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah. So I'm
Mm-hmm.
excited. I'm like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, let me get back into some of this crafting stuff that I used to do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know what I've been doing lately, but I've been busy. I've been busy as hell. So I'm like, it's time to like do a little something just for funsies, something that I
Yeah.
like to do because I consider myself pretty crafty. So it's nice to
Mm-hmm.
get back into the like groove of things.
Yeah. Yeah.
Kind of.
I actually love that you brought that up because literally yesterday, have you like used those acrylic markers? Have you heard of
I have
them?
no idea what, like a painting marker essentially.
Yeah, it's like a painting marker. Yeah.
Okay.
So I just got like a new set of those, and like I
Mm.
got like a new like adult coloring book, and they
Mm.
like came in, and I'm like so excited to just like be
Mm.
still and color. Like, oh my god.
I literally am like, ooh, yes.
I'm so excited.
It sounds so nice.
I cannot wait. I was like, oh, that's what's happening tonight. We're doing a
Oh,
spooky movie, and I'm going to sit here in color, and it's going to be a great time. And
I
I
love
will
it.
say, like, I don't do scary movies, but I've
Mm-hmm.
committed the month of October to like spooky season. So, like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching the things that feel scary to me because my partner really, really loves that genre. So here we are, we're doing
Mm-hmm.
it. And
I
I
love it.
need something joyful to offset the terror that I feel when
Yeah,
I'm
you
watching
do.
that. So
Yeah.
I'm excited. It's gonna be fun.
Yeah. This is so funny because I was telling my siblings when we all visited each other last month. What month is it? Whatever. When we visited with each other, they were like talking about scary movies and they're like, we're going to watch a scary movie. And I gave some parameters around them. Like, like my husband is like, we don't do devil and demons and all that. I'm like, for
Mm-mm.
sure. I'm like, I don't want guts everywhere. You know what I'm saying? So we watched scary movies like 2 nights in a row. And I was like, I'm fine. And then I was listening to scary like podcasts, like the spooky camp stories and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, it reminds me of when I was listening to like true crime stuff and I was like, I'm going to get murdered. So doing this too many times in a row, I was like, I'm going to see a ghost. And so I had to stop. I was like, I don't actually want to see anything for real. Like, I don't
Yeah.
actually want to have all of these experiences, or even be thinking about it. I was like a little bit more on edge. I
Yeah.
was without even realizing it. And then when I finally did, I was like, oh, we need a break. This was cute
Mm-hmm.
and it's fun and the stories are great. And we're getting to like, ooh, hoo, hoo, but
Mm-hmm.
gotta take a time out. So
Yeah.
I've
It's a
taken a
hard
time
time
out
for
now.
me. I have to
Mm-hmm.
really do like a palate cleanser like after watching one. Like we
Mm.
watched American Psycho the other night, and I like did
Oh,
not
that's
watch
scary to you?
something. It's not, that one's not scary to me, but
Okay.
it has the same impact because I did not watch something fun and colorful and bright and then literally had
Mm.
nightmares about it like that
Oh my
night.
God.
Yeah, yeah. So
Oh,
like
wow.
that's like how deep it is for me. Like it really like permeates my brain. Like And that one's not even scary.
I was like, I should have
It's
laughed at you
like,
because that one's not
yo.
scary.
The next day we did Jeepers Creepers, and I was
No,
like, you
that's
know
scary. I will not
what?
watch that again.
I didn't even finish it. I said, you know what? I had nightmares last night. I don't think I can, So
No,
I
I
put Bob's
cannot watch
Burgers
that.
on.
Oh,
I was like,
that's good.
Sorry, gotta go. I did my best.
That's good stuff right there. Man.
Yeah.
Dang, I wish I
have
could
like
remember the names
really,
of.
really crazy nightmares when I watch
That's
scary
tough.
movies. Yeah.
That's tough. I'm not normally a dreams kind of gal, or nightmares. Like if I do, it's like, what the F is going on here?
Oh no, I get them a lot.
Yeah.
A lot,
It's just
a
more so
lot.
me living. I'm like, oh my, what was that? Freaking out. So I don't know which one I prefer. Like, I'm afraid when I'm awake.
Yeah, you do be doing the most when that happens.
Yo, it's also because, dang, I wish it was this M. Night Shyamalan movie where these kids are visiting the grandparents and it ends up being like a very M. Night Shyamalan reveal. But the grandparents are like clearly tripping, but you don't really realize why in all these ways. Dang, I wish I could remember the name of it. But it was really good. And it had us like spooked, but not like terrified to, like our bones, I guess. And it was just a really good, like, I would recommend that one. I'm gonna find the name.
You did tell me what it was, and I can't remember. But because I thought about like, oh, that should be a spooky season movie that I should watch, and then like just could not. Like it was like, and just left my brain.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. Dang.
because I would do
It's like a
that. I would watch that
grandparents movie.
tonight. I would do it.
It was good. Is it The Visit? It might be The Visit. Okay, I looked it up. It is The Visit.
Okay,
I had to see the right images. The Visit.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very M. Night Shyamalan level of scary.
Okay. I'm gonna, actually, and I know this segment has gone super duper long, but you even mentioning M. Night Shyamalan, like when I was like going to that wedding, it was like kind of in the sticks, and we were just like driving through cornfields, just like no lights, like to the point where my fiance was like, I'm just gonna follow the reflective lights on the street, like this is what we can do here. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is where Signs was inspired. Like this is it. Like, I was like, they did it here. Like
I still love that movie.
It was scary in real life. I mean, not signs, but like driving through that, I was like, oh, whoa. I am a city girl. Okay, I like lights. I like buildings. Like okay. So
unless it's like planned darkness. Yeah. And I mean, like, oh, I'm going to a cabin. Like, yeah.
Not even like, that I'm a little scary though. I'm not gonna lie.
That's fair. I've never been like really, really alone, if that makes sense. Yeah. Normally it's like, we can see a cabin over there.
Yeah. But anywho, y'all, let's shift on to our next segment. It's now time for Debug This. So let's get into today's topic. And I know that last episode we gave you a little teaser, but we're going to be focusing on boundaries today. So I feel like boundaries has been like really like discussed more recently. Like people are really trying to like step up their game with boundaries, realizing that maybe they've been people pleasing, maybe they're doing things that doesn't necessarily serve them, or they're like putting other people before themselves. And so I'm just wondering, Edna, like just throwing out a question, like what do you think boundaries are and why do you feel like they're important?
This is a good question because there's the difference between like boundaries and expectations, right? And the boundaries are the things that I can control. Maybe I'm putting up my like stop sign here. You cannot pass go with certain things, right? But an expectation is like, I'm expecting you to do something. So that's like more like others, their behavior, what you want them to do. So I think, yeah, that's what I would say. Boundaries are more like you, what you're deciding you're going to like put up with, not do whatever that is.
Absolutely. Um, and I got this definition of boundaries off of the Mental Health Center. And they say that boundaries are personal limits that we set to protect our emotional, mental, and physical well being. They guide how we spend time, share energy, and define acceptable behavior. And without them, people often feel overwhelmed, resentful, or drained, often by taking on others' burdens or compromising personal values. And one of the reasons why having boundaries are so important is that without having clear boundaries, we do risk burnout, anxiety, and emotional exhaustion. So, definitely what you were saying, it is very much about what we're going to do. It's not about a rule, it's not about you need to do XYZ. It's more so of should this thing happen that I don't like, this is how I plan to move. This is what I'm going to do about it. So it's not so much about, controlling other people. It's more so about like how you choose to respond to something. So definitely right there in terms of like, it's definitely more like person centered.
And I think that's so
But I,
important because a lot of people use them interchangeably and they're not actually the
mhm.
same. So,
Exactly. Exactly. And a lot of people will say like, "Oh, well my boundary is XYZ." And then if someone like does that behavior that they don't like, then they get like really really like upset or angry or whatever, but then like kind of stick around to do it when like you can just state, "Hey, if this thing happens again, then this is what I'm going to do. Either I'm going to remove access, I'm going to change the subject, I'm going to, et cetera, et cetera." So it really is more focused on like what you're trying to do versus telling somebody else how to be. So
hmm hmm
um
hmm
there's I do want to kind of get into like the link between boundaries and mental health. So what I was referencing before about like burnout, anxiety, emotional exhaustion. So one of the major benefits of having boundaries is that it does reduce, or it's known to reduce anxiety and stress. And a lot of times, like, we can deal with stress from personal relationships. It could be just excessive demands overall. It could be work pressure, like a multitude of things. And I was looking at the study that was published in the Clinical Psychology Review. And they found that people who struggled to set boundaries were more likely to report symptoms of anxiety and depression. And when you do set a boundary, it can help people like prioritize their own mental health by reducing those external pressures and like fostering a sense of control. Because I do feel like a lot of times when people really struggle with boundaries, they just feel like things are being thrown at them and they just have to do it instead of taking in like to account like what their capacity is. Is it something that aligns with their values or not? Like really taking into account like what matters to you and whether or not that ask is something that is in alignment. And I think like it's very easy to struggle with setting boundaries because you want people to like you, or do you want to excel in a certain field, or you know what I mean? Like there are so many reasons why people will kind of like push their own boundaries to the side because like they want acceptance, validation, et cetera, but a lot of times that could be to the detriment of your own mental health. um Another benefit that they had talked about was just improving emotional regulation. And they were kind of talking about how boundaries are pretty much the key to emotional self-care. So they had noted that when we set limits around how we engage with others, we're less likely to internalize negative emotions, be manipulated, or feel emotionally drained. And they had cited a research article in Psychiatry Research. And they said that people who maintain healthy emotional boundaries were better equipped to regulate their feelings and respond more calmly in stressful situations. So I wanted to know if you had like any thoughts around that piece specifically, because I feel like that's a major point that people don't necessarily think about so much. Like I think there's a lot of talk about preventing burnout and whatnot, but I think in terms of like not internalizing negative emotions or being manipulated is a piece that is super super important. So do you have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I feel like I'm always spilling the tea on myself. I'm like, well, here's another thing I'm working on. So like thinking about the person who struggled with boundaries in the past, that's like been me. So I think of
Mhm.
me being like an oldest, being pretty much like developed to be a people pleaser. Like I think about being younger and the things that I was praised for. It was definitely
Mm.
for like doing what those around me were like telling me to do, and like being a good student, being a good girl, like following directions on the first try and all these things. And that would get me the praise that like
Mhm.
I guess I was wanting or like feeling validated for, and like how that's just changed into adulthood is interesting. I'm kind of like a mediator, and then just thinking about the profession of a social worker and like innately being a helper on top of it.
Mhm.
Girl, years. Been working on this for
Mhm.
years, right? Like
Mhm.
undoing that. And I always talk with people about like if you've been doing, and I might have said this on the podcast low key in the past, if you've been doing something in one way, like you have a habit of doing something in one way for, let's say, like I'm 35, right? If I've been doing this for 30 years and I wake up like, okay, I'm going to change this, it's gonna take like a minimum of 30
It
years
takes
to like
some time.
really feel like, yeah. So I'm like trying to be really patient with myself because sometimes I get a little frustrated or sometimes I get a little bit like, oh, I should have said or shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Instead of being like,
Mhm.
okay, this was a mistake. Here's how I learned from it, blah, blah, blah. But I have started to set a lot more boundaries just to make sure I'm good. And I think last episode when we talked about sleep, like that's a huge one
Mhm.
for me. I was
Mhm.
like, everything can be going to pure shit. And I'm like, but I'm asleep because I just know that I need it.
Mhm.
Or
Mhm.
like being away, just like even being in Texas, right? I'm like able to set boundaries a little bit better with how I engage with others and how I
Yeah.
maybe even engage with my family and stuff like that. Cause it's sometimes hard to do and hard to like remove yourself sometimes from situations. But
Mhm.
I don't think I actually
Mhm.
got to your question. That's some of the stuff that I was thinking, but you were talking mostly about what did you say? Like not anxiety.
No, just being like less likely to internalize like negative emotions or like be manipulated by other people.
Yeah, I'd have to really talk to my therapist about being manipulated by. I don't think I have been. I'm like, that's a deep question. I'd like my immediate reaction is
You're
no.
like, whoa. Oh,
um,
wait a minute.
I don't think so. I'd like to like. Hopefully, I'm gonna have me thinking about this like years later from today. I have therapy on Friday though, so maybe I'll bring it up. Um, So I don't think that I've had anything like that before, but you never know. Who
Mhm.
knows? Especially just thinking about the way in which one doesn't practice boundaries for so long. It could be something really small that
Mhm.
maybe I didn't even realize if I'm just being honest. So I don't
Mhm.
think so,
Mhm.
girl. Like, let me say a
Yeah,
little prayer or
yeah.
something.
I think one way it's kind of connected, just in terms of like not internalizing negative emotions and not being manipulated, is the fact that, like, I think a big part of boundaries is about like your value system, right? And if you
Hmm.
are behaving in ways that are aligned with your values, and if that means you will do something or will not do something, if you're
Hmm.
receiving any sort of negative feedback or criticism about that boundary, you're less likely to like rake yourself over the coals for it. Not to say that it
Hmm.
won't happen, but it's not going to stick as long because you know that you're like being true to yourself and really taking care of
Hmm.
your emotional self. So, like,
Yeah.
there are times when I've set a boundary with somebody, and like, I think oftentimes when we set boundaries, like, initially people are extremely resistant, right? Because they feel
Hmm.
like you switched up on them. They feel like, oh, you're brand new. Oh, why is this not okay now when it was cool before? Like all of those things. And like when
Hmm.
you are setting limits that are in alignment with like what you actually need, yeah, is that criticism and that feedback going to sting a little bit? Sure. But you're also prioritizing yourself. So it
Hmm.
might roll off a little bit faster. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And I think in
Hmm.
terms of that manipulation piece, like a lot of times when we are being hit with resistance for boundaries, they are using like emotional manipulation. They are trying to guilt trip
Hmm.
you. They are trying
Oh,
to
then
get you to
yes, this has
change your
happened to me.
mind. Like, you know what I
Yes.
mean? Like
I'm
it's
like, oh,
all of
wait.
those things. Yeah. Like all of the
Yeah.
tactics that are used to get you to change your mind or to like roll back that boundary. Like I think sometimes people really go full force with that. And when you stand firm
Hmm.
with that, like they kind of have no choice but to like accept that this is what it is, which could
Mm-hmm.
definitely help boost like self-confidence, because you're like, yo, I didn't fold, and I knew
Yeah.
this was going to be hard and I did it anyways. And like, I feel
Mm-hmm.
good about myself, for being able
Yeah.
to do that. So,
Yeah. I've set some really hard boundaries, and I think at first, either I've been fed up all the way, like to your point of
mm,
like with whatever stories I was telling myself, or the negativity, or the like realizing, oh, I don't want to engage with this person, but I keep doing it, or whatever that is.
mm-hmm,
Like,
mm-hmm,
there's also a freeing that happens eventually of like, aha, I finally did it. No matter like what the outcome is, no matter even if you're not
mm-hmm.
talking to that person anymore, it
Yeah.
feels so good to be like, oh, but I am significantly happier, or not even happier, actually. I'm significantly more at peace, you know?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And you've talked a lot about values, and what I sometimes find is that folks don't necessarily know their
Yeah.
values and or don't know how to find them. And I think that was even kind of true for me for a while, and I'll never
Mm-hmm.
forget meeting with a therapist, and she had one of those worksheets where we like pulled out a bunch of words, and it was like, okay, like
Mm-hmm.
find the ones that resonate with you. Now let's dwindle them down, which are the most important, and kept going and going.
Yes.
And so I think if anybody's like, but how do I find out what matters to me? Like that's a great way to do it. Like there are
Mm-hmm.
tons of worksheets, there are tons of things, even if you just Google it, that give
Yeah.
you some really good words to at least get started on to help you really hone in on what some of your values are.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like I'm like super duper familiar with that. I want to say maybe I can find it and link it onto the episode, but I know that there's actually in acceptance and commitment therapy, it's very values based and it helps increase confidence, set boundaries, et cetera, et cetera. And they have like a list of like 60 different values, and it literally
Mm,
is like very important, kind of important, not important at all, blah blah blah. And
mhm,
like they have anything from like curiosity to being a value, to like
mhm,
determination, to honesty, to family, like things that you were like, oh, I guess that is a value, right? And so it's
mhm,
really honing in on the things that like really, really like resonate with you, and then
mhm,
figuring out like, is that showing up in my life? If it's not, how can that show up more? And do I need to set boundaries so that that can happen, right? And
mhm,
so I think like it would be a really good idea for everybody to kind of do a little bit of deep work into figuring out what their values are, because that can
mhm,
also really change some relationships that you have. It can change your work ethic. It can change a lot of things. So, like, I can
mhm,
say for myself, like, especially when it came to work, like, I used to work like multiple jobs, and I would like go home and then continue to do paperwork, and like it was like not a good time, not a good time at all. And then I was like, hey, I actually don't need to do anything once I get home. Like, if you're doing all of this work, you don't need to go home and like keep doing work. It's going to be there tomorrow. It's okay. You know what I mean? Or like, if people
mhm,
are sending me emails after a certain time, I've gotten so good with boundaries around that, that they just know, like, hey, I know you're not going to see this until tomorrow. So I just wanted to send it out. You know what I mean? So, like, I think
mhm,
once you've established that boundary and you've stayed really firm on it, people kind of fall in line. And like you said, it really does kind of help protect your peace a little bit more. So you're
mhm,
not like feeling that anxiety. I must respond right away. Or like, oh my gosh, what are they going to think? They're going to think I'm not doing my job, or that I don't care enough, or
mhm,
whatever. And like, it's
mhm.
just 9 times out of 10, it's never that deep. So yeah, I've done a lot of like boundary work around like workplace behaviors and whatnot. So feel
Same.
really
Like you're
good about
speaking my
it.
language. And again, that makes me
Mm-hmm.
think of like our conversation last time around workplace harmony, work life
Mm-hmm.
harmony, and figuring out what matters to you. Because I will say there are times in my life where clearly for you too, where it's like, well, I need to do well in this job, or I'm trying to get to XYZ goal. So actually I
Mm-hmm.
am gonna do this
Mm-hmm.
thing for a while. But if you start noticing you're getting burnt out, or you're really unhappy,
Mm-hmm.
or you're having the Sunday scaries before you go to work on Monday, like,
Yeah.
or whatever
Yeah.
day that you go to work, it's like something that you kind of got to reevaluate.
Yeah, definitely. That actually takes me to the last point of like boundaries prevent burnout, right? Because I think a lot of times we can like overcommit. And that could be at work, it could be in friendships, it could be with families, it could be like in any context, right? And like when we overcommit ourselves and we're agreeing to do things that are beyond our capacity, like that is absolutely going to create burnout. And when we're burned out,
Hmm.
like you tend to not do well in any area. You know what I mean? So
Mm-mm.
I think it's kind of prioritizing and taking stock of like what you can actually do versus all the things that you may want to do, right? And you have to
Mhm.
risk like disappointing someone and like understanding like it just kind of is what it is. Like maybe I can't see you every single week, but maybe I what I can commit to is once a month. We're going to, have some time, right? Or like if it's tasks at work, maybe I can commit to taking on one extra task, but I'm not going to commit to taking five on. You know what I mean? And so it's really or it could be like, I'm not doing none of it, right? Like it could be like, I'm just going to do my job and y'all get somebody else to do it, you know? So it's really understanding like your limitations, your capacity, and then acting in a way that is being mindful of that and making sure that you're like considering yourself, honestly.
Mhm.
So,
Yeah, I totally agree. And again, that stuff sometimes comes with like learning,
mhm,
growing, doing the work, again, seeing what's valuable to you, just all of those things. It doesn't feel like there's like, I saw something recently that was like, America loves a hack. And it's like, there's no hacks. Like, this is literally a lot of work, probably some tears, unless you're like stone cold and don't cry, but that is not my story.
mhm,
Like just a lot in order to be able to like get to the point that maybe you want to be at when it comes to this and like not being stressed out and stuff. Because I know you're talking a lot about work, but I think even about like relationships, or I know sometimes what I'm trying to get better at and what I think I'm doing a great better job at is being like, I don't want to go,
mhm.
and like
Done.
not giving a reason.
Yep, yep.
And I used to be like, oh, because I have, oh, well, I just, or like feeling like I actually just want to sit in my house, but I can't say that. Like, I need to rest is enough
Mhm,
if I even need to
mhm.
give you an explanation. But just sitting in that more, of like, also not feeling like you got to give people excuses, which is really hard. Like, and it also still
Yeah,
even sometimes for me depends on the person, right?
yeah.
Um,
Same for me. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Like, kind of just depends. But nevertheless,
Mhm,
it all takes a
mhm,
lot of work and a lot of practice. This is not like
mhm.
you're gonna listen to this podcast, you're gonna find your values, and then boom, you're sent
Boom, you
down. Like it's
got it.
not nah,
If
man, it's not
only.
like that. If only.
Which I
Um,
actually will talk a little bit about, you know, what to consider when trying to create boundaries and like questions that might help you define them. But I actually am kind of happy that you talked a little bit just about like how boundaries can help, like in terms of relationships, because they do foster like respect for each other and like it prevents enmeshment and codependency, and it also enhances communication because you have to clearly communicate what that boundary is, right? And like you can't expect someone to respect a boundary that has not been communicated, right? So
mhm.
I think it definitely fosters communication. People can ask, like, okay, well, why is that a boundary for you? And then you can get into it and be like, these are the reasons why it's a boundary, and this is why I'm going to stick to it. But it does, like, definitely, like, increase that communication and respect just within those interactions. And
Mhm.
I saw a study that also noted that boundaries actually help partners honor each other's needs,
Hmm.
and it shows that clear boundaries are linked to greater satisfaction, stability, and emotional connection across family, romantic, and personal relationships.
Mhm. That makes sense
So,
to me. I feel like
right?
also though I'm learning again, as a social worker, when I first started out, I was like, this all makes so much sense to me. Like, why are we even explaining this? This is one of those moments where I'm like, I don't know what to add. Duh. But I know that that's not the case. I know that I'm not saying if you are someone who just
hmm
learned something that's, it's okay if that's something new for you. But I guess I'm
hmm
just saying, like, sometimes I don't know what to add because it's just so clear cut to me,
hmm hmm
everything you just said.
hmm But I also think, to your point, though, it's because you've been doing that work for a really long time. So
Yes, I hear you on that. I also think about social work and what I feel like is true about a lot of social workers, not all of them. When I know that this is not true, I'm not speaking for every social worker, but I also
Mhm.
feel like it's something that's like innate within them. Like, again, like
Mhm.
when you take those personality or like work personality traits, characteristics, like we're always the little helper, the little defense,
Mhm.
whatever the little character is
Mhm.
that's like the
Mm.
same. I feel like it's also this innate kind of calling. And so I feel like there's always been this thing in me that's like, this makes sense to me why relationships and emotions and like how we're showing
Mhm.
up and productivity all ties together. I've never
Mhm.
really understood why people struggle so much to see it separately until I would say very recently. I'm like, oh, people really don't understand. And it's
Mhm.
taking teaching
Mhm.
them in order for them to get it. But that's cool. Like everybody comes with their own stuff. But
Right.
nevertheless, I do feel like it's a thing sometimes that you just kind of get off jump.
So, for folks who do, have some questions about how to better define boundaries or want some support around like figuring out what your boundaries might be, here are a couple of questions that might help bring you a little bit of clarity. So, first question to consider is, what relationships are bringing me stress and anxiety?
Hmm.
Am I attempting to control someone's emotions, thoughts, or behavior? Do I feel mistreated or taken advantage of? Which I feel like is a big
Hmm.
one, folks. Does the value I feel from others change based on how well I fulfill their requests or obligations?
Hmm.
Which really speaks to that people pleasing stuff. And do I need to adjust my responsibilities to align with the law of relationships?
Hmm.
So, considering those things might help you figure out in what context you might need to set boundaries, if there are certain relationships that you're feeling like, this doesn't necessarily feel so great all the time. Like, just thinking those through. And then that can kind of help you figure out, like, okay, I know where they need to go. And in terms of like creating boundaries, there's some tips about that. They noted that you should know your limits. So identify what drains or energizes you, because this is actually the foundation of healthy boundaries. You need to be able to communicate clearly. So being direct and assertive about your needs to ensure that they're respected. You have to be consistent, which I think is really huge. You have to stick to your boundaries so others learn to honor them. So, like, if you set a boundary and people are pushing back, you have to really try not to fold. Because if you set a boundary and then you fold, it's very difficult to take any other boundary seriously after that. So it's just really like being mindful of that and understanding that, yeah, it's going to be rough in the beginning potentially, but the outcome is going to be so much better for you. They also noted that you should practice some self compassion, right? And remind yourself that setting boundaries is self care and not selfish. And be kind while firm. So, boundaries can be set with care and it prevents resentment, and you can maintain healthy relationships by doing so. So, you don't have to be like an asshole when you're setting boundaries. You can just be like, hey, these are my needs. This is what's happening. So, in turn, my boundary is this. Like, it doesn't have to be a really negative conversation. So, I've got a couple discussion questions. And you kind of like semi answered it, but maybe not. When was the last time you said no and actually felt good about it?
Hmm. I feel like it happens more frequently than not now, though.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even know. I feel like it was something trivial now. Like I just be saying no now.
I say
Like
no. I
what?
say no more often than I say yes these days, which is
Really?
fun to me.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I want to think of a concrete time that I said no. Um that's appropriate for this podcast. It's not my therapy session. Sorry, friends. Um like no, not that one. Like something a little more lightweight. Geez Louise. I don't know. I guess I cannot think of anything concrete right now. Jeez, that's so terrible. I don't know. Do you have one already for you?
Um, I should have thought about this before we started, but um, wait, let me think. I can probably find one. I think I'm like the last time because I just be saying no to a lot of stuff these days. Okay, one that's like super chill, right? Like I've talked about Pilates on the podcast all the time, but I would go to Pilates. I have a friend that goes with me we try to like go to the as many classes together as we can.
Hmm.
And when I was down bad with that cold, my friend hit me up and was like, "Hey, are you coming to Pilates this morning?" And I was like, "Yo, I cannot." And she's like, "Oh, we usually do this one together." And I'm like, "Hear you, not happening." Like love you so much. Maybe next week we can figure it out. But like
Hmm.
it's a no for me, dog. And like,
Hmm.
and I will say, like, she is lovely and is very, very understanding. So it's not even like she really pushed back. But like,
Hmm.
I would say if you were someone who really struggled with like disappointing people, like that might be a more difficult one to set because like if it's a
Hmm.
thing that you like do together, like that is your thing that you do together, and then you say like no,
Yeah.
like that can cause a little bit of like anxiety, even if the person is super understanding, so
Hmm.
yeah, I would say that was the last one that happened on Sunday.
Oh, that's good. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense why you said no. I don't know why I cannot
Hmm.
think of like a lightweight one. I'm thinking about all like my deepest, darkest, like. So there's one
What
time.
about like a social thing that someone like invited you to go to and you're like, nah, I'm cool.
I don't know. My brain is telling me no. I'm like, I
You're
don't
like,
think
I'm
I've
not
been.
even making social plans, okay?
I was just gonna
Like
say that. I was like, I don't think I've been very social. I think besides like my friend coming, we've been trying to do some like housework and some shopping, and like I feel like it's been very for me lately, like homey time. Um, and maybe that's part of it, right? Like I'm not even. I guess the boundary is like my priority is right now, house,
mm-hmm.
husband, and dog, with a little
Mm-hmm.
bit of work I
Mm-hmm.
did. So it's funny that we're talking about boundaries because normally I am really good about like work life balance and I don't do the emails late and I don't do work late. But I just got put on a project that I'm like, oh, I really want to do a really good job on this. So I have been
Mm-hmm.
working a little bit more. I did not say no to that. But I think I've even said no to work. I was asked to do a
Mm-hmm.
conference thing and I was like, can somebody else go to this? Like, I don't want to go to this. And someone
Mm-hmm.
else is like popping in and like more than happy to help. So I think even at work, finding the right way to say no, especially because I'm not the boss. So figuring out how to be like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, so we applied for this thing. I don't know if we're going to get it, but like, I don't think I'm the person based on the timing and da 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 da. And folks were really receptive to it. But I know it can be really intimidating sometimes to say no at work. But at work, I would not just say straight up no. I remember, especially as a counselor, as someone who's trying to build relationships with an entire
That's
campus,
tough.
like you cannot just go
Mm-hmm.
around being like, no, no, no. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
so I can't do this in this way, but I'm willing to help you figure out who can, and or I can do XYZ at this time instead. Like
Mm-hmm.
it felt like a real skill that I was able to build because of knowing the
Mm-hmm.
importance of the job and building relationships in a very strategic way, and teaching others that as well. So I guess that's it for me. Like recently was going to present at a
Mm-hmm.
conference and then was like, I think someone else should take it. Like probably not me,
Mm-hmm.
or not volunteering, which is not a direct no. But I've learned to be like, we're not volunteering for everything first. Someone else can volunteer.
Mm-hmm.
Like we don't have to take on this
Mm-hmm.
extra work or be the first to do this thing. I'm at a like pretty decent point in my career where I feel like I don't have to hustle as hard.
Yeah.
Except I
Yeah.
guess I say all that, but I was like, but then this one project came up and I will
But
work
this
hard.
project.
But maybe, right. But I think that's
but
like the
I will
boundary. I'm
say,
deciding when I'm doing that instead of like,
mm-hmm.
you must.
Mm-hmm. And like right now, at least with that project, that seems like a high priority right now. So if your value
Mm-hmm.
is to like be successful at work and this project comes up, it's like, okay, that's going to take priority. So let me
Yeah.
like set some boundaries around it while I can still excel. Right.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. I was like, why have I been doing that? I'm like, oh, because I've been working and then just doing home stuff. I'm like, oh, that makes sense. That's like my priority
mm-hmm.
kind of right now.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And you kind of spoke the next question I was going to ask is like, how do you politely enforce limits without feeling guilty? And I think like what you said was just like a perfect example of that.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
I
I
think
think like,
also, oh, go ahead.
oh no, I'm going to let you go before I do another example. So you,
Oh,
you
okay.
go ahead. Yeah.
I was like, also without getting too deep, like thinking about what we said earlier, like sometimes you just get to your wits' end. So then you're able to like set the boundary. I
Yeah.
also think sometimes thinking it through ahead of time, depending on like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to be yelling and screaming for sure, but the person you
Mm-hmm.
might be interacting with might be a tumultuous soul. So it's like,
Yeah.
I think being
Yeah.
calm and being factual sometimes,
Yes.
and thinking about what you can control, is a great way to approach it too. Like, I'm going to do X, Y, Z. I think you said it really nicely earlier, but I forgot the order in which you said it. It was like, this has been happening. I'm going to be
Mm-hmm.
doing this. And that is the end of that. Like, that's not like and you can accept or not accept. It's just like,
Mm-mm.
this is just how it is, actually.
Just letting you
Um,
know how I'm going to move.
yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. My the example I was gonna give, it's like another work one, of course, because I've had to do a lot of work around like personal relationships. I've actually haven't had to do too much, I think, about
Mm-hmm.
boundaries. Like it
Mm-hmm.
was more so work that was like really grinding my gears for a while. But when I was working with my students, I had a lot of students that had high needs and they were seeking me out constantly
Mm-hmm.
to the point where I had a student that would just like stake out like outside of my office. And
Mm-hmm.
like I'd hear people on the walkies like, "Hey, Ariel, so and so is waiting for you." Blah, 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 blah. And so like I had to create a boundary, but I also set up a system so that making sure that like letting them know like I still got you, but I just right now it's not a good time. And so like when they would come to my office, like needing my support, like we created a system where it was like you get 3 passes to see me during unexpected times. And once you use up those 3 passes, unless you're in a major clinical crisis, you gotta use your skills, you gotta figure it out, you gotta go talk to somebody else, you gotta do something. But like once you
Mm-hmm.
use up them three passes, like that's all I got for you, buddy. And like it
Mm-hmm.
did work. And it let them know like I still care. I still want to be supportive and help you through the things, but also my time is important too. And I
Yeah.
can't use all of my time with just one person because I've got a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people that I'm helping to support. So,
Mm-hmm.
it was a way to like let them know like you still matter, the relationship matters. I still have your back and I also have my back. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm now that you're saying that and thinking of work, it's like almost way easier again because it's not my therapy session. But and thinking about work because folks just used to like open the door to my office, come in, like so I started to have this little sheet on my door that said what I was doing, like in a meeting, silent work time, meeting with a kid, like meeting with someone, like whatever it was, right?
Mhm.
So people could know like if this door is closed and I have this on this thing, and I would explain it to everyone, like to the adults
Mhm.
too. Do not come in here.
Mhm.
Like I could really be in the middle of a session. I could really be on a phone with a parent. I could be doing so many things. That folks eventually got it because I would not answer the door. I would like lock it
Mhm.
and be like, "You cannot come in here. I will not come and help you,"
Mhm.
because I have to stick to the things that I need to do or the person that I'm meeting with and give them my full attention or whatever that is. And
Mhm.
obviously, if it was like emergency, that's a whole different situation. But
Right.
yeah, because otherwise I couldn't get anything done in like a beautiful way because folks know that
Right.
you're a resource and that you're decent at your
Mhm.
job, or I'll say good and not be humble, or whatever that is. Um, so you're like a trusted person on the campus that folks can go to, but it's like I gotta
Mhm.
do this work and I want to help
Mhm.
you so bad, but we have to like put it on the calendar, or you got to send me an
Mhm.
email or a text or
Mhm.
something.
Yeah. Yeah. And I will say like if anyone wants like a fun example of that, and this is obviously within the school setting, but the most recent episode of Abbott Elementary, like the new season, they like get a school counselor and like she has to navigate like teacher
That crazy school.
shenanigans and like working with students. And it was just like a really like funny way to kind of depict like, yo, you need to figure it out because I'm going to prioritize this work instead of helping you figure out your stuff, you know?
That's dope.
So
That's
highly
dope.
recommend. It was a really funny episode.
Okay.
Yeah. I think some of the other questions I have, we've kind of already spoken to. So I'm gonna stop the questions now. But I do have a
Ooh.
like a book recommendation for anybody that wants like
Ooh.
further help in figuring out boundaries and learning about them and trying to implement them in your life. There's a book called Set Boundaries, Find Peace by Nedra Tawwab Glover. And I need to remember to um, add that to the episode, but it is a really, really, really good resource in helping people identify and implement boundaries within their lives. And then she also has a second book called Drama Free, which primarily focuses on setting boundaries within like interpersonal relationships. That I have found to be really, really, really helpful. So highly recommend, friends.
I love it. Let me add it to my list, Loki.
Yeah, it's really, really good.
Nice.
And I've like seen her speak and I'm like, oh my gosh, like
Oh.
fangirling. I love her. But yeah, yeah, I think we're gonna leave it at that. So yeah, that's our topic for this week. And I hope everyone feels a little bit more empowered to start looking into what their capacity is and figuring out if there are some boundaries that need to be implemented. And I hope you're encouraged to, make that happen for yourself. So,
Hmm.
yeah.
Okay, well, let's shift into glow mode. This is our space for wins, wisdom, and words that lift us up. Ariel, what is your word, phrase, or affirmation that sets your intention for this week?
So I don't have a word, phrase, or affirmation. However, I do. I'm very excited for this weekend. One, I'm going to a concert to see Chance the Rapper, and I'm the excited.
Oh, I've been seeing him
It's
on the
gonna be
social
a great
medias.
time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so that's happening. And really, what I want to focus on is that I think I'm like hosting a game night,
Fun.
and which is so fun, right? However, like I don't host people. Like there are like a select few that get to come to my house. And so like feeling like a little bit anxious, even though there's not really much reason to be, but like just like hosting in general, like I like to attend things. You know what I'm saying? So
Mm-hmm.
like hosting something is gonna be like a new thing for me. But I'm excited. Just like a little nervous Nelly about it. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really
That'll be
just being
great.
present. I feel like that's like my affirmation, like most weeks, is just like being present. But like, really, I just want to have a good time because I love a good game night. So,
Mm-hmm. For sure. I was like,
yeah.
oh, that sounds great. And sounds like a very chill
Yeah.
way to host, actually.
So, yeah.
Uh, well, for me, it's so funny because I've already talked about it. It's like work-life harmony. Um, Thinking about like I shared this work thing that I got going on and trying to make sure that I'm not working on it at all hours, but just working diligently throughout the day so that I don't have to work into the night or be like, oh, I should work this weekend. And then be like, damn, I didn't work this weekend. And then trying to like squeeze it in during the week again. Cause that's low key what I kind of tend to do. Cause I really do I want to do well on this one thing that I have
Mm-hmm.
coming up on my
Mm-hmm.
plate. So yeah, try to make sure that I don't let it kind of take over, that I'm
Mm-hmm.
still able to chill and do whatever me and my husband do in the evenings and the weekends and all that jazz. So
Mm-hmm.
that's it. Just a
Mm-hmm.
little more focus on the harmony and the
Yeah.
reprioritization of things for a little bit, and that being okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you got it. I have the
Hmm.
utmost confidence in you. You're going to kill it. So,
Oh, thank you.
we
Thank you.
not
I'm not
worried.
stressed
We
about it,
not
but it's like,
worried.
yeah, just let me get it done. That's all.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, everyone, remember you can tune in on YouTube and Spotify, and you can follow us on IG or email us at glitchandglowpod@gmail.com. We will see y'all in 2 weeks on Tuesday. And as we power down, remember every glitch has a glow up. Look at me glitching already. Bye, y'all.